listening to a Phyllis Young production. All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Lost Ones Masonic Podcast. I am your host, Brother Joshua Feliciano, and I hail from St. James Lodge, number 114, best out of the most worshipful Prince Hall Grand Lodge of the state of New York. And I'm here with my co-host, Brother Brandon Williams, who hails from George Washington Carver Lodge, number 95, based out of the most worshipful Prince Hall Grand Lodge of the state of New York. Quick disclaimer, the views and opinions expressed on this podcast do not necessarily reflect any views and opinions of any grand body that myself, Brandon Williams, or any of the guest speakers are a member of. Welcome to episode number 6, Modern Free and Accepted Masons of the World. I have 3 guests here. I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves before I start getting into the history of these organizations. John, you want to go first?
I would love to. My name is Brother Jonathan Dozier. I am from St. Elmo Lodge, number 159, here in Red Oak, North Carolina, under the jurisdiction of the most worshipful Prince Hall Grand Lodge of North Carolina. I bring you greetings. Greetings, brothers.
Thank you. Brother Ken, you next?
Peace, all. My name is Brother Kenny Thomas, also known as KT. Hail from St. James Lodge, number 4, most worshipful Prince Hall Grand Lodge of Georgia, District 3 East. Want to say peace and blessings to all of you. Pleasure to be here. Ready to rock, roll, and have fun with you, brother.
Let's go. Brother, is it Khary, or pronounce your name for me, please?
Khary.
Brother Khary, please go. Where you from? Where you from?
Greetings, brothers. My name is Khary Wright. I hail from Widow Sun Lodge, number 4, District 22. The 4. District 22, under the most worshipful Prince Hall Grand Lodge of the state of North Carolina, where D.T. Daniels presides in the Grand East.
Thank you. So, brothers, today we're here, and all 3 guest speakers have all been a member of Modern Free. And they're here today to talk about their history and story behind joining Freemasonry under Modern Free, and then becoming regular under the Prince Hall banner. Real quick, I'm gonna just go through the history of Modern Free so that everybody is aware and just caught up on what it is that we're doing. Originally, they were known as Modern Free and Accepted Colored Masons of America, and they were established in 1917. They were incorporated in 1927. And their name was changed in 1955 to Modern Free and Accepted Masons of the World, AASR. I don't know where they get their Scottish right from, but they're definitely not a legitimate Scottish Rite. I'll tell you that. Modern Free is one of the fathers of the splinter groups when it comes to U.S. They birthed other organizations like International, Universal Masonic Brotherhood, Reform Universal Masonic Brotherhood, and literally the list goes on and on and on. Because when you look at this lineage, there's so many splits that tie back to Modern Free. And the reason why I say Modern Free, it ties back to them because those who know the history know that the organization was created by one man, not several lodges, not another Grand Lodge. They were created by one man, and that one man's name was Jerry Baxter Baldwin. He had claimed to be a part of a lodge called Olive Branch Lodge in Alabama. The courts, when they went to court with the most worshipful Prince Hall Grand Lodge of Georgia, the courts actually determined that he was actually lying. Between 1940 and 1960, they had a female, a lady, establishing lodges. So there was a lady establishing lodges, not a Grand Master. Modern Free calls themselves AASR, but when you look at their structure, they actually don't have a full Scottish Rite structure. The way they work, from my understanding, is they have a red house, a purple house, and a black house, and then you cross over and finish out the rest of the 32. They combine houses in that sense. There is no lodge of perfection when it comes to AASR over there. It's very, very shady, very, very skippy. And in a rundown, that's pretty much what it is. A lot of this history was uncovered through the courts when they were taken to court. Unfortunately, they have this thing with Prince Hall where they tell other members of their organization that that we make up a lot of the stuff that we're talking about, which we don't. Court records are public. I've said this in the last episode. Anybody could look up this information. It's not a secret. It's not hidden, and it was proven. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to go through each of our guest speakers today, one by one, and we're going to start going down through a timeline of what made them join Freemasonry first. So, John, if you mind, please tell us, why did you join Freemasonry and what made you choose Modern Free?
All right. So, me personally, I moved to a new area, and in that area, I knew no one. So I'd always wanted to be part of a fraternity. When I went to college, I didn't pledge and didn't stay long enough, was a knucklehead, whatever. And so decided that I wanted, I saw one of my wife's friends was a Mason. Of course, I asked the question, hey, man, you a Mason? Oh, yeah. Give me an application. No problem. Took him 3 years to give me, well, about 2.5, almost 3 years to give me an application. Now, every time I asked him, for that application, it was always, oh, well, we got to vote on it. So what? You mean to tell me there's an organization that's going to vote on my app? Oh, man, on whether I could even get an app? I want him bad, right? So every time I saw him, I asked him. And so, eventually got the application, filled it out, and went to some guy's house. And, he was known for establishing multiple lodges and multiple OES chapters. And, I mean, he was a higher up of, in the area. And so, walk in the house and the guy that I'm with, grabs his hand and they cover up and they do some stuff. And like, oh, damn, I'm about to be in this mom. And so, you hear all the cliches about things that happen in Freemasonry. Well, I didn't want none of that. What I wanted was brothers, because I was here by myself. You know what I mean? So make a long story short, got in. We had elections and all of that.
Hold on. So, John, hold on real quick. Let's back up a little bit because I got a question.
Okay.
You had no idea whatsoever what Modern Free was at the moment when you joined. Like, you didn't know anything that the separation between clandestine and bogus and regular Masonry at that point.
The only thing I knew about Masonry was there was two kinds of Masons: white Masons and black Masons. That was it. That was it. I think I may have heard of Prince Hall, but I know nothing about it. You know what I mean? It wasn't one of those things that clicked, so it was just, I wanted to be a Mason. I wanted to belong to an organization, a brotherhood that was doing the right thing.
Right. Okay. So you go get your petition. You don't know who you're getting it from. You go in and you join Modern Free. Tell me about your initiation process.
Okay. So, and I laugh now because it's funny now, but if you know anything about a fraternity, then that is what my initiation was like. I was fraternalized. I had to prove to these brothers that I could take it. And so what they called woodwork, that was done. So the paddles came out, the blindfolds went up, and I mean, it happened. You know what I mean? And so
and what year was this?
Say again?
What year was this?
2015.
Okay. So it wasn't that far off. Then. Yeah, it wasn't that far off.
No. This is pretty recent.
Okay.
Yeah, this is pretty recent, about 2015. I didn't last long though. I was only there till about the middle of 2017.
Okay, we're gonna get to that in 1 second.
Yeah.
So you went through your initiation.
Uh-huh.
And like you said, you went through it with paddles and everything like that. And you went through that whole process.
Right.
Tell me, after your initiation, what happened?
So they gave us these handouts. Now I know them to be catechisms, but that was what we were supposed to be learning, that and some kind of obligation. I can't remember exactly what it was at this point, but that was what was given to us and told us. It was called 101s, as a matter of fact. 101. So I guess
101s.
Yeah, sir. That was supposed to represent that Masonic 101. So it was the catechisms, right? And so that is what you had to be proficient on in order to move into your second degree. So that's what they broke us up and called us, let us get a line together with a line name and a line president, not a class. It wasn't a class. We were a line.
So you were given catechisms, right? These catechisms happen to be like pretty much 15 cents and can you find my dog? You know, he's about yay tall. Yeah. It was these little things that like that. They weren't really ritualistic memorization, were they?
Catechism's fun.
Oh no, they're fun. They're absolutely fun. They are fun. But at the end of the day, that we all know, and it's crazy because these organizations teach that you are proficient in this, and you can question anybody in these things, and if they're not, you can take their ring and so on and so forth. But that's not real masonry.
Exactly.
Regular masonry, we don't do that. Like it's crazy how we try, and we do it in that sense within the book, but we try regular masons under our own obligation. We're not allowed to try, clandestine, bogus organizations.
Well, of course, that's a given. But make no mistake, you will be tried.
Absolutely. So now let's move on to your second degree. What was that like? What was your second degree like?
So the second degree, we had a misunderstanding on my line. We didn't realize that the proficiency we were supposed to learn the obligation. So none of us knew anything about the obligation. And we had the 101s somewhat down pat. And so that was just pretty much it. We got our asses beat again. And we were shown how to wear aprons, and that was pretty much it. I mean, they gave us some paperwork, but again, it's all a blur. You know what I mean? Because it's just a blur. There was nothing meaningful behind it. And then so I don't really have a good story about that getting the second degree. There's not really nothing really to tell except for the fact that it happened.
So in other words, you just pretty much got a pass.
Got my ass whipped, but there was no.
Gotcha. So when you came over to your third, right? Was there more catechisms for you to learn to show proficiency, or what happened when it came to the third degree?
Oh, my third was amazing. So we had to show proficiency by making a 357. And that 357 was actually used with shovels. And so we dug our own graves that had to be 3 by 5 by 7. And so that's what our proficiency.
You can't make this up. I really you can't.
Josh, I will send you a picture, but we had a real goat at my raising.
What?
That's lit. I would have paid money to see that.
Oh, Jesus. I can't.
That's lit.
Bro, I'm telling you. And then you line up, and once they checked your grave and made sure you were good, they would line you up. I mean, we were running they blindfolded us. And I mean, we're in the country, like deep country, like in the woods country, like, fields around us. Like, I mean, we can conduct you how we want to around here, and nobody will know it. And so we running all through briars and woods, and we're on our hands and knees crawling, looking for the master's word. And I mean, it was just all these things that we did. I mean, we had a Masonic apple. Anybody ever had one of those?
No, I've never even heard of a thing.
Yes, I have.
Ever had a Masonic apple?
Oh. What?
I'm not touching it.
So I'm listening to this. Right? And it just seems to me,
for the sake of calling beer, it's an onion.
It's not really the third degree. No, because if, for the sake of everything else that we know to be true, that was the biggest part of it, was that right there. I mean, it was not anything that you were taught. It was nothing that was to instill Freemasonry into you. They didn't teach you about brotherhood. They didn't teach you anything. As a matter of fact, after we were raised, we went into a function together as brothers, and something happened where there was a scuffle, and we were all out there as brothers, so we wasn't gonna let this one thing happen without us being involved. And a legitimate Freemason was like, "Hey man, I thought y'all were Masons." And somebody, "Yeah, we Masons."
Y'all ain't no Masons, man. Y'all a damn gang.
Wow.
You know, and that was one of the first times I questioned my affiliation with what is this? Maybe I need to step up and help these guys understand, you know what I mean? Because maybe it's the leadership doing the right things, you know. So let me, you know, step my game up and do my part.
All right. So the next part of of the line of questioning when it comes to you is going to be, and I don't want you to answer this yet because we're going to get back to this. Okay. Is going to be how you found out, you know, that they weren't a legitimate Masonic organization. So we're going to get back to that though. Okay. Brother Ken, you up, boy? You ready?
Yeah. What's happening?
All right. So yeah, let's talk about what made you come into Freemasonry, and then what made you choose Modern Free when you first came in.
All right. So what made me come into Masonry? I've been looking at it for a long. My father's Prince Hall. My great grandfathers are both. Well, they passed, but Prince Hall. So Prince Hall runs through my blood. You know, and my father gave me this ring. And I saw this particular ring when I was like 5 years old, and it always caught my attention. You know, mom and dad split up, so we moved from up north, moved down south, and but it's always been in my head. And every time I'd see it, it would just, you know, it touched me. So we moved here to Georgia, and asking around, and I saw some dudes that I know I'm affiliated with some other spiritual stuff, and saw a cat there that I know. I said, well, I've always seen, you know, be one, ask one. So I'm asking. He said, cool. Call up this other dude. So I called up who at that time was the worshipful master in that lodge. And this was 2000. This was first back in 2009. 2009. And I met these dudes came to my house. I did not know who Modern Free was. I didn't know. I kind of knew about Prince Hall, but I didn't really know. I just figured, that was what I heard before. I knew that if you were black, we were Masons together. If you're white, they over there doing their thing. I mean, I guess we wave high in passing. You know what I mean? So he made a phone call. They asked some questions over the phone. These brothers came to my house. That lodge at that time, it's about running about 8 deep, right? So about 5 of these cats pull up to the house, black and white suits, black bow ties, briefcases. I'm like the Men in Black. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm cool. And I mean, like, to this day, I'm still cool with a lot of these cats. You know, we don't speak nothing Masonry. They bring it up, I just sit and listen. It sounds interesting. They're like, brother, we need to come over to your lodge and visit. I said, that's probably not going to happen, but you can try. I can't vouch for you. But anyway. They came in, we talked. They met with my wife, spoke with her. And then it was off. And remember at that time, there was an initiation process that was started to fill out the application. There was the application fee that goes with it. And but at that time, my lodge wasn't Modern Free. They were on another jurisdiction called Excelsior. I remember this now. I don't even know who Excelsior is, I'll be honest with you. And then I had some financial stuff happen, unemployment hit. So back around 2012, I jumped back on board. They're Modern Free. And
so wait a minute.
All I can remember.
So when they left Excelsior, which is to my understanding, I think they're a bogus Scottish Rite body.
They are.
And they left that organization and joined Modern Free.
Modern Free. The whole lodge did. Yeah. So when that happened, I hadn't even gone through any initiations yet. I was about to. So by this point, we were under Modern Free, and I did. Right. And you know, when you're going through everything that I've done with St. James has been just beautiful. I remember it.
Hold on.
I don't remember anything that happened over here.
So you don't remember anything when you were in Modern Free? You don't remember what happened when you're in distribution?
No. I'm not saying I don't remember anything. I'm trying to remember what it was like. Hell, I can't remember, man. All I remember is we went through. There was some paddle. I was blindfolded. Was in line. There was some paddling. I remember that. And they were telling me that I came through easy. I was like, okay. And then after that, I was given some staple printouts, like a little pamphlet. Very informative stuff. Not gonna say it's not, talk about the jewels, movable jewels, and what have you. But it didn't get. I'm the guy that's like, well, you give me this, I need to know all of this, because I can remember my great grandfather, my uncles, they'd sit there and grip and they would say something. I'm trying to ear hustle, I couldn't get it, but I knew that they knew something. And I wanted to be like that, right? So I started studying the obligation, an apprentice obligation. They told me you don't need to know that. Just know 133rd Psalms. Yeah.
Wow.
And and some of the jewels and that. And I was like, I don't need to know no one's never going to ask you the obligation.
So hold on.
That's what they told me, right?
So automatically now I'm listening to this, right? I'm hearing this, and I'm already seeing there's some inconsistencies because, and I'm saying this because of the fact that you have one organization that is literally Modern Free is the head of the company that runs everything. So everything is supposed to be unison together because that's the body. That's the governing body, right? So automatically I'm listening to this and already see some inconsistency because you have North Carolina doing things one way, or that lodge doing things one way, and then you have this other lodge that's doing things completely different as well. I find that very, very intriguing.
Let me interject one thing.
Sure.
That was where the sovereignty part of it came in, because they said that they were sovereign, as far as North Carolina being sovereign from Georgia, whatever. Because Be Natural was right there across the border in South Carolina. So we were talking about visiting one time, and we asked how, why they do things different, and that's when they said we were sovereign. So that's when they explained. That's what they explained sovereign mean to me.
So that was that was the false representation of what sovereign meant.
Right. That they could do what they want to do in South Carolina. We could do what we want to do in North Carolina.
But the thing about it is, if you're so sovereign, why is there a Supreme Grand Lodge that we have to succumb to?
And and I think that's the biggest part of this whole thing is that right there is that sovereignty doesn't mean that your Grand Lodge is separate from everything else. Sovereignty means that you are governing yourself and there is nobody above you governing you. So when we look at these other organizations that these other Grand Lodges that's under Modern Free saying that they're sovereign because they get to pick how they want to run their lodges and things like that, that's a load of crap because their Grandmaster reports to a president. And that's not sovereign. Right. Wait, do you remember your second degree?
Yeah, I remember my second degree. And now a couple things. We also had a line. It wasn't a class. We had a line. My line was small. There was only 3 on my line. And when it came time I was the only one in my line to show proficiency. So I did my second degree with another lodge. And I can remember they told me to bring 15 quarters. And I had to put down your quarter, stand on a square, pick it up. I remember doing that. I was like,
sorry, brother. Sorry.
Yeah. It's funny. You laugh. I'm laughing.
Well, bro, sorry. And I didn't mean to be that rude to you, but it's funny you would say that. I did that as well, but it wasn't in the Blue House. I was waiting for Josh to ask, because he's going to ask about how they get their AASR. And we can talk about it, but that's where I saw that at.
Wow, I saw that at the second degree.
Yeah, they did that going through the consistory.
And as I was doing that, if I wasn't on square, if I bent over and didn't kneel down, I got paddled.
Right.
I remember that.
Right.
So, but still went through. Was blindfolded. It was in a little small office. I remember that. After the blindfold came off, I was like, "This is it." There was nothing meaningful to it,
Right.
you know.
So
And
now, so now you're done with that, right? You're done with the second degree. What comes next?
but now they had me sitting in as secretary. They didn't have a secretary to the lodge,
So wait
so they
a
had
minute.
me just sit
You're
in.
not even a third degree Mason yet, and they got you sitting in as a secretary.
I'm about to get on that I have a lot to say about that. But yeah.
Yeah. So that happened there. And then I can remember I got raised in modern free. And I say it this way now, just for myself, as a clandestine Mason. It was in May of 2013. I remember that. And immediately after being raised, I went to the east and sat in that corner, man. Started taking notes immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to sign everything when I got raised. My signature was there for me.
So wait a minute. When you got raised, what was that experience like?
We was out in the woods. We was way out, man. Mm-hmm. And I can remember being barefoot outside early in the morning, marching, walking through ants, getting bit up. I remember getting bit by ants. It wasn't a moving experience like it was when it was memorable in the fact that it was uncomfortable.
So my question to you is, so it had nothing. So once again, it had nothing to do with the third degree that you know now.
Some things happened there that I recall, that I remember when I got raised in Prince. I mean, there was some ritualistic stuff that was there, but it was clouded with so much other stuff.
Gotcha. All right. So the same thing goes for you. The next question is going to be, you transitioning over and finding out that, Modern Free isn't a legitimate Masonic organization. So we're going to get there in a few. Brother Wright, what happened what made you want to join Freemasonry, and then what made you choose Modern Free?
Of course, well, from what, just like Brother KT was saying, it was bloodline. I've seen it all my life. I've seen the compass and square all my life. My grandfather, all my uncles, on both sides, my aunties, they were Eastern Stars or whatever. So I knew what Prince Hall was, but I didn't know, that it was Prince Hall Masonry. I thought all Masonry was the same. So fast forward. Well, let's go back in time. I enrolled in Shaw University. Shout out to the oldest HBCU in the land, in the South. I worked downstairs in my dorm as a assistant RA or a work study student working underneath the RAs and the dorm directors. So there were some guys on campus. Of course, you had the fraternities, you had the alphas, you had the sigmas, you had the kappas, So at one time, well, it's still to this day, but like if you go to like a school like NC State, you can pledge your freshman year. But predominantly HBCUs, you have to wait till your sophomore year or whatever. Mm-hmm. So this guy would always come in with his jacket, he'd come in with his suit. He was a student, real clean cut guy, still my friend to this day. One of my best friends, was in his wedding and everything. He always had that, that Masonic pin right there, whatever. I said, and I asked him about Masonry. And I ran down my little spit, whatever, my grandfather, everybody in my family is Masons or whatever. He's like, cool. He said, so are you interested? I said, yes, most definitely I'm interested. I want to be a Mason. I want to be a Mason. He said, okay. Asked me what room I was in, da, 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 da. So I was handed an application, 1-page application, of course. Didn't have a whole lot on your name and, where you're from and this, that, and the third or whatever. So that was that Monday. That Wednesday, now mind you, I didn't get interview or anything of that nature. All I was told is meet this guy in the parking lot Wednesday. We're going to take you somewhere. Okay. Have $50 on hand. You'll be ready to go. Okay, cool. It's in. I'm like, it's on. About to be a Mason, But I didn't have that guidance. My grandfather had passed. My uncles, it was more important to them that education is key or whatever. So I never really said anything to them about it, whatever. It all happened so fast. So guy pulls up in a red IROC. Never forget it. Pulls up in a red IROC. Said, you such and such? I was like, yeah. Get in the car. Now, mind you, I don't know. I know I've seen this guy on campus. Don't know who he is. Everybody knows him. So I was like, I guess I'm safe. I guess I'm all right. So one thing about IBC lodges and grand lodges, their brick and mortar can be anything. Mm-hmm. Their brick and mortar can be anything. So you have to look at it from that aspect. It could be a American Legion that they're meeting at. Mm-hmm. It could be at a school. It could be anywhere. So I pull up to this building, green building. So I get out and I see above, which is some purple and gold letters, right? So I'm like, so this is the lodge. Okay. So we're going upstairs. So as I'm going upstairs, I see this guy's picture. So I'm looking, I'm like, what's this? So I see something that says exalted ruler. Mm-hmm. I'm like, exalted ruler. So that must be the guy in charge. Of course, now I knew that it was the Improved Benevolent Protector Order of the Elks, right? Which I happened to become a member of the Elks, which I happened to become become the youngest exalted ruler at that lodge. Shout out to Fidelity Lodge 277.
Congrats.
So, thank you. So we going upstairs. The Elks, if you know anything about Elks in their lodge, it's not true East. Doesn't have to be. Based upon the positions, based upon the, how they have everything set up. So 4 guys are in there. So they sitting there, they shook, they scared. I'm like, what are they going to do or whatever, this and that third, So I'm looking in the room, the so-called Annie room, and I'm just looking around. I'm just looking at my observations. I'm just looking at stuff. I'm like, I see horns. I see elk horns. I see elk pictures. I don't see anything pertaining to a compass and square. I'm like, wait a minute. Did I sign up for the wrong thing? I'm thinking like, what's going on? Of course, they blindfold us.
So let me just hold on. Let me interject real quick. Yeah. So for those listening, understand that the Elks is a completely separate fraternity.
Completely separate fraternity. The history of the Elks is really an awesome story.
Right.
But again, I'm asking myself, did I sign up for the wrong thing? Because this looks like these are the Antler Lodge or the I don't know what the hell this is. I like, all right, these guys are with me. You know what I'm saying? I'm shook. I'm nervous. They're just as scared as I am. This guy comes in, prepares, takes us in there, walks us through, whatever. And after it's done, once they brought us to the altar, once they blindfold us, we get the OB. We do get that. And so once we come to light, I see what I see, of course, what we all seen. But I can't focus on that because I'm looking at these damn antlers that's above the thing. And I'm thinking that this has something to do with this. I know this for a fact. This has to have something to do with this. I didn't want to ask a dumbass question. I said, okay, they step back, they give us what they give us or whatever, which, still don't remember to this day. So we go back into the preparation room, get dressed, get up, this, that, and third. So they give us our package, one-on-ones.
So wait a minute. You didn't get any paddles or anything like that going on that first degree?
That first one, we didn't get any paddles.
Okay.
Now, let me tell you that, because you got to understand, we're on the college campus.
You're
on the college campus. Not saying that they portray themselves as a fraternity, but you had some members that were in fraternities that happened to be part of that lodge.
So wait a minute. Okay. Hold on. Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
So you have these guys who are part of legitimate D9 organizations.
Yes.
That are bogus Masons. So they know the difference between a bogus and legitimate organization.
It's so prevalent down here in North Carolina. They have no clue. Got to understand, we were young guys. Mm-hmm. We were at a college, university. So we're done. Give us our one-on-ones. They said, okay, next month we have our meeting. So that was my first degree. That was my first degree as, an apprentice. It was interesting.
So
I thought.
So you got the same situation
too.
No, but the thing is, what the thing is? I'm listening to his story, and I'm comparing it to John's story, right? Right. They're both from the same quote unquote jurisdiction. Well, Modern Free is a jurisdiction, but they're both from the same Grand Lodge. But notice how the lodges are doing something separate. So this excuse about we're sovereign Grand Lodge is a load of BS, because what's really showing here is that the lodge is more sovereign than the Grand Lodge.
It was no real Masonic work, but it was the fact that everybody could come from all over the state and line up and tear that ass. You see what I'm saying? I
can contest to that. Yes, they did.
It was.
Yes, they did.
So let's talk.
How does that smell to you?
Yeah.
So let's talk about your second degree now.
Okay.
What happened within the fact, obviously you had your one-on-one just like John and
right.
So on and so forth. What happens next?
Okay, so my second degree, and again, it's kind of vague, It was just almost similar to the first. We did meet again at the Elks Lodge, and that's where they met at. And that's where that particular lodge still meets to this day. And this lodge, which is Titus Lodge, they've met there for the last 40 years. They have never got a building or anything. I think they just got comfortable and complacent with where they were at.
Great tenants, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Still got the Elks.
The Elks will only worry about the money. That's it. They're like,
it's the money. It's the money that they could care less.
You wanted me here, I usually got to pay like the way.
They could care less. They don't care.
And y'all fake, give me 300.
Right, exactly. So my second degree, I think 2 other guys were added from another lodge because it was King's Lodge. So they met with us and we went through our second. It was so quick. All the you have to understand that with an initiation in Modern Free, You don't get the same thing as you do in Prince Hall. You just don't get it. So it was so quick. Only thing, the basic, and it was like that for years. The basic thing you got was go around. You didn't get any lectures. There was no lectures. There was nothing. One thing about modern free is that it's no concrete proficiency
right
before you advance to the next degree. It just isn't. It just isn't. You don't get those. Right. You don't get a classroom setting. You don't get that lecture. You don't get to learn until you know that whole book. Our blue book,
right?
Which is for us in North Carolina which is our first for the Icky. Then our second is yellow. So we have to learn
the North Carolina Icky.
Hold on. Did you guys use the
Icky.
Look to the East or Duncan's or anything like that?
What for modern free?
For modern free, yes. Yeah, as a ritual.
Yes, we used the Duncan it was pretty much the same process with the Duncan. We used the Duncan for I'll say for initiation. It was the same structure how it was structured. Now for our information, it didn't come out the Icky. Just like Brother Dozier was saying, they had their one-on-ones. On the second was just kind of stuff just put together from here and there. That's basically what it was. It was stuff that was put together from here and there, and you just, it was confusing. It was very confusing. It was very confusing for the second. I knew more about the first because it's one-on-one. You get the one-on-ones. It's pretty much memorization.
Right.
They're numbered. So, you can say, they'll be like, who turns the lights on and off in your house? Oh, that's question number 27. I got that.
Right.
That's an easy answer with nothing with no substance to it. No substance whatsoever. So I'm like, so the second was more so like that, but it was a trip.
So now your third degree.
Again, I'll say, third degree?
Yeah.
Third degree was interesting. So they had a grand session in Raleigh that year. So we did our initiation in the hotel. We did our initiation in the hotel. So they had like a mass initiation.
You mean you're raising?
Raising. I'm sorry, my raising. Had a mass raising. And so we were just in one big room. Didn't see no chairs. Didn't see no altar. Didn't see no book. Didn't see no Bible. Didn't see no compass. Didn't see anything. So we're just going around.
So you got raised without a square and compass and without a Bible, without anything that you need to get raised. Nothing. In regular masonry.
Nothing.
Did they have a goat at least?
Didn't have a goat. We actually had a goat, but it's so crazy. We actually had a goat at our Prince Hall raising, which was a traditional thing for widow son, whatever. But we didn't have. There was nothing there. Like again, there was no substance there. There was nothing there. All I heard, it was just pretty much okay. We're gonna go through this,
Wow, you got lit up. Pretty much.
They lit us up third. Yeah, they lit us up on the third. Yeah. Oh yeah, they gave us the work. They gave us work. We got work on it. We got work. We definitely got work on it. Yeah, they worked us over.
Lord bless them.
Yeah, they worked us over.
All right, so same thing. We're gonna get back to you and what made you realize that you weren't part of something legitimate.
Right.
John. So tell me, when did you find out that Modern Free wasn't a legitimate Masonic organization, and how did you process that? Like, what happened when you found out, and how did that come into your mind?
So for me, it wasn't a one-time revelation, and all of a sudden, the lights came on, and then you just move over and you go get baptized, and Jesus comes. It wasn't like that. It was more like my very, 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 very first inkling that something was wrong, that I wasn't where I was supposed to be. One of my battle buddies, I hadn't seen this guy since 1992, 91, 92. Hadn't seen him and bumped into him through Facebook, this, that, and the other. Come to find out he's a Mason, told him I was a Mason. Oh, yeah, okay, cool. And so Modern Free Weekend was coming up. And I asked him, I said, well, hey, man, I hadn't seen him, but I'm trying to hook up with you. You coming to Modern Free Weekend? He said, Modern Free Weekend, what's that? I said, well, Modern Free is down there in Columbus, Modern Free Weekend, right? You Mason, you going to be there, right? He said, nah, man, I can't go to that. What you mean?
No, sir.
What you mean you can't go to that? Oh, well, you'll find out. You'll find out. And that's how he left it. I'm like, something ain't right, man. I done bled with this dude, and he gonna just tell me something ain't right. He gonna tell me that he not coming to hang out Masonically with me? Man, bro, everything that I know on this dunking and this ritual. Okay, so let me take it back a little bit further than that. When I was able to get my dunking, the fact that my wife was able to go and pick it up from me because I had to order it from Barnes & Noble, that blew my mind. Because if I just took all these oaths to keep all these things secret, but yet it's in Barnes & Noble, so they mean to tell me it's going to come locked up or something? I'm going to have a special code, to make sure that only me, because I gave an oath that I was going to protect this stuff. So how can I protect it if it's coming from Barnes & Noble? So, anybody can have it. My wife is going to pick it up. No. So that was one of the first things that made me seem like something wasn't right. Second thing was my battle buddy telling me that he wasn't coming to meet me for Modern Free Weekend. Third thing was when I got to my uncle, who is he's a Prince Hall Mason in South Carolina. He was actually a worship master, whatever year it was. I can't remember now. It's got to be like 2016. And I'm asking him, like, hey, uncle, can't wait to come and sit in your lodge, man. I want to sit with you. He said, well, you Prince Hall? I said, well, no, we Modern Free. Oh, well, you ain't sitting in none of my lodge.
That's all. 100%.
I'm a nephew.
That's some serious. Hey,
you ain't my brother. You better go do your research. You ain't none of my brother. And my uncle don't cut take no slack. You know what I'm saying? He don't play. So I'm like, hold on. So I went to one of the brothers, and so in this lodge that I was in, Khary, this guy. He was also a visiting, he would visit amongst different lodges, right? Within Modern Free. And he explained to us that there was really no difference between Prince Hall and Modern Free, because every Mason was pretty much all the same. You take the same oath, the same obligation. And matter of fact, I can show you that I am a card-holding member of a lodge in Georgia. That's Prince Hall. I just pay my dues to them, but I'm a Modern Free too. So I have dual membership. Not to mention he was a potentate at the time. And so he was a pastor. And so with all different titles, you know what I'm saying? He had dual membership. I'm like, you know what? I guess that don't matter. It must be something going on with these people that's not accepting me. So asking questions again amongst the Modern Free, and they say, those, you know what it is that you so damn sharp. You know so damn much. Them Prince Hall boys can't touch you. So that's what it is. They're going to hate you because Prince Hall, matter of fact, Prince Hall got to come back to us to get their 30 seconds. So who are they? They ain't nobody. You know?
I hate when I hear that.
Time out.
They use that, yo.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
They use that.
Yep.
Let me ask a serious question. And this is rather rhetorical, but
run it, brother. Run it.
Y'all just said that for all intents and purposes, y'all didn't really learn much of anything in the grand scheme of things. Yet, someone was able to convince you that you knew more.
Listen, we thought what we had is what it was. You understand what I'm saying? We thought we knew.
I'm not mad at you. I mean, you don't know what you don't know. But
so let me put a little
in hindsight, I'm sure it's funny.
Now looking at it, now we didn't know. You know what I'm saying? Now look at it. Yeah, we don't know. We didn't know.
Oh Lord Jesus, that's funny.
Because when, like I said, with these people telling me that I can't sit in the lodge with them, my boy not coming to Modern Free Weekend. So let me do some research. And so It just so happened that I started doing the instruction as the senior warden, which is what I was elected to as I got raised. I was senior warden. So I took over the instruction of the lodge. And so every Saturday we got together for a couple of hours and I would do some research on the internet and this, that, and the other, because again, what are we reading out of the Duncans? You know what I mean? And started learning that the Duncans is an expose, so it shouldn't be used as a legitimate Masonic document. And I'm like, oh, wait, hold up. You know, what some people start talking about, well, y'all don't have no charter. So you take that stuff back to your lodge leaders. You know, you go to your pillar of wisdom and say, sir, I heard we didn't have a charter. Oh, what is this then? And they show you this paper. It's got some names on it. It's to all ye, we, this, that, and the blah, 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 and the blue, 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 and the charter.
Got it from Etsy.
Right. In Columbus, Georgia. And I'm like, well, Columbus, Georgia. Why are we paying our money to Columbus, Georgia? Oh, well, that's a Supreme, because we got a Supreme Grand Master. Oh, okay. So as all these things start to, you know, and I'm asking questions, I break it down to the very last person, which was a brother of mine of the lodge. And he was in the military. He was in the military lodge, Prince Hall. And when he came back, he joined Modern Free. And so I asked him, I say, bro, look, you know, I'm just kind of I'm having a real hard time with this because, you know, all these things are being said. I'm seeing all these things. But then, you know, you think about Modern Free being started by an individual who they say have no real Masonic lineage and this, that, and the other about him, not da-da-da-da-da. And, you know, but yet they say Prince Hall don't really have no Masonic lineage. And he was a eavesdropper and a coward and could only get the 3rd degree, you know, because he knew so much. And then that's why they got to come back to Prince. And so I don't understand what's happening, bro. You say, so what you asking me for? What? Got nothing from him, bro. I got nothing from him.
So it sounds. So here's the thing, and this is what I'm listening to. There is a lot of confusion with all the information that they give you, because what happens is when you start finding out the truth and you start asking questions, they start giving you answers that make the situation even more confusing.
Exactly. Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes, sir. And I think they prey on that confusion because you only have certain people that can decipher it. You see what I mean? And so that's where you're getting your information from. And so you're not going to Google. You're not going to ask these other people because they tell you don't ask Prince Hall. You know, don't you ask them boys because they're not even going to respect you. And then even if you try to leave, oh, man, them boys going to clown you, man. They're going to make you stand in the Northeast and not even recognize you. They're going to clown. They're going to make you do this. They're going to make you do that. You know what I mean? And so you're almost scared to leave. But then the brotherhood that you make with them and you're out to eat every month and, you know, you're at each other's houses. And remember, I was looking for family. Right. So I had to cut my ties with them because my reasoning, I mean, once I left and realized I had left, I realized I needed to leave. It was like, hey, bro, y'all lied to me intentionally. Right. Intentionally. You played my money, my $40 a month. $40 a month.
Right. To piggyback off of what Dozier was saying, one thing I say now, brotherhood wise or whatever, they all for that. You know what I'm saying? They'll go out to eat, they'll do this, they'll do that. You know, it's they consider themselves Masons. So I can't say that they don't practice brotherhood. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
But when it comes to the aspect and the factual that they're not legitimate. Right. They're clandestine bodies.
Right.
I got a question.
True.
And it's a quick question for the three. Really it's for KT and for Khary, because Dozier kind of already touched on it. But you all mentioned that you had, you know, family members, relatives that were, you know, Prince Hall Masons and or Eastern Stars. I know Khary briefly touched it. Why didn't you have the inclination to reach out to them first? Barring death, of course, and Lord bless them.
You know what? You know why, B? Because the process was so quick.
There wasn't enough time.
I heard what they wanted. Well, I wanted to hear that I wanted to be a Mason. Yes, I want to be a Mason. Let's go and see the elk horns.
Yeah.
So Ken, let's go to you now.
Yeah. What about you, Ken? Yeah. What was
So hold on. You can answer Brandon's question also, but on top of that, I want you to also explain the red flags and everything that you noticed that made you actually realize that you weren't in the right situation.
All right. So let me go to I'm going to Brandon's question first. So I did actually talk to my dad, and my dad's sponsor, who's I got about 20 godfathers, so he's one of my godfathers, Brother Strickland. Brother Strickland told me on the phone, whatever you do, you either gonna go Prince Hall or Grand Lodge of your state. And since some white boys don't really bother with you got to come home. I remember him saying that to me. So
yeah, sounds about right.
so he said that early on, and it sat there in my mind, but I was like, you know what? I got a lot of pride. I'm smart. I know this, right? But I did talk to my dad. My dad was, Pops was like, look, follow your heart. Just follow your heart. He said, whatever it is, he says, I never heard this before. When these brothers came and I met with them, I felt something. I felt a presence, and I go off of energy like that. It was sensationalism, and I didn't know about, and I didn't know. I honestly didn't know. Now I do. So from that point to when stuff wasn't clicking, my father came down to visit me, right?
Mm-hmm.
We sitting here just talking, and, and he's speaking catechism to me, and I told him, even still now, CHA here in Georgia, we don't do catechism. It's just don't do it. Well, Modern Free also at the time wasn't doing it. So he was telling me, I was like, yeah, man, I don't know this shit. What you talking about? Okay. And then he was like, well, man, let me see your birth certificate. Looked at him, and I never heard a birth certificate before. I only heard of one birth certificate, right? So look at him. I said, birth certificate? I said, you got my birth certificate. What are you talking about? He said, no, man. Are you traveling? Where's your traveler's card? I said, huh? He said, what are you doing? I said, I'm Secretary of Lodge, so I know all the He was just like, I told him everything I've been to. I'm sat with the Grand. He said, yeah, you sat with all these people, but you have nothing to validate and substantiate who you are.
Who you are.
He said, you walk around in the smoke screen, man. And I was like, what? He told me, do your research. So I remember we had a grand session. Let me rephrase that. Let me word it this way. They had a grand session that I attended because I'm not part of that no more. Put it just like that. When I move, right? And but I was there, and I'm going to still say it to this day. I met some very knowledgeable brothers there, some very cool, real good-hearted brothers there that do a lot of work out in the community for so this not to bring anything bad upon them. I ain't trying to say nothing bad, but anyway, I asked a question. I was like, look,
the truth is the truth. At the end of the day, it is what it is. Like, anybody can sit there and do a really good job at community service and all this other stuff, right? You can know the ritual like the back of your hand, but that doesn't make you legitimate. And I think that's the false representation that these organizations give is, listen, if you can go toe to toe with a Prince Hall brother, or you can sit there, they don't know anything, you know more than them. Guess what? That makes you more legitimate than they are. But that's not true. It's far from the truth.
Josh,
well, I was asking them also. I asked them. I said, "Why is it such a dissension between?" Because when I was in Modern Free, they was always putting down Prince Hall. Prince Hall brothers do this. Prince Hall brothers are this.
Because they lost a court case. That's why.
Money.
I didn't know that then, but I know it now.
Right.
And the light really clicked when his brother eventually became my sponsor. Now I sit shoulder to shoulder with him in the lodge. He wouldn't speak anything masonry with me, nothing. His brother's a member of St. James. He would say, yeah, can we, this weekend, man, we doing this, we doing that. We got this day going. I'm like, what? What is that? I said, man, what is that? He said, y'all don't do that? Nah. I said, no. He was like, damn. And he would just change the topic. And he kept doing it. I was like, yo, man, don't made that enough. I've been reaching out to the Grand Secretary. In fact, this was in 2017. I haven't received anything back from his Grand Secretary to this day. So I never received anything. So I'm asking him, like, yo, what do I do? And I just spoke with my brother and said, look, man, I've already admitted. How can I come home? What do I do? And
that was it. That was it.
Yeah.
Brother Wright, when did you find out, and when was it that it clicked on you that you weren't in the right situation?
Well, my story is pretty funny.
Has been
as you
so
know,
far.
right. So, I'm at Shaw University, right? So there, if you know these guys, you New York guys, I don't know if you've heard of these guys. There was a group that came from Shaw University called Lords of the Underground. Brandon, you might be a little too young for it. You might not know who they are. But Josh, I know you know about the Lords. Do you not?
As a hip hop head, absolutely.
Huh?
As a hip hop head, absolutely.
Yes. So they went to Shaw University. Do it all. Dupree went, Jazz. They was the year behind me. But a lot of people do not know this, is that Tariq, not the funky child, Tariq, the brawly guy. He's Prince Hall. He's Prince Hall Mason. And Dupree was an alpha. So when we talk about this, he was down here for homecoming, whatever, and we talked about it, was hilarious. But they shot a video. They shot Here Come the Lord's video at Shaw University, right? So we have modern free guys on Shaw University's campus, but we also have some Prince Hall guys there too. So we're all cool, but it was always kind of they really, they say, hey, what's up? How you doing? We ready to grip and this, then the third or whatever, but they never really was on that grip stuff or whatever, blase. So I fresh master mason, So I tried to grip one of them. I tried to grip not Dupree, but Tariq. And didn't get nothing. Like, okay, it's something I did or whatever, So I asked one of the Prince Hall brothers on campus. I said, "Look, man, what is the real deal? Like, you don't deal with modern free, or because I didn't know anything about international or any other clan. I just knew modern free. Modern free is what it was. We all share the same commonality. We all are, supposed to be brothers. We're supposed to be equal." Brother broke it down to me. He said, "No, brother, we're not equal at all."
Wait, that came from Tariq.
The first time I heard clandestine.
It
came from one after the video was shot and everything. They left home, went back up to New York and made more money. I talked to one of my buddies that was Prince Hall, was a Prince Hall guy, or was a Prince Hall member on campus. And we just had a conversation. I said, we talking, good guy, Thurman, never love him to death to this day. And he explained to me, and that's the first time I ever heard the word clandestine. Didn't know what clandestine meant. He was in college and still didn't know what the word clandestine meant. Didn't know what it meant. Had no idea. Clandestine. What does that mean? He said, brother, it means that you're not legitimate. You're not a legitimate body of masonry. I said, I thought all masonry was the same. He said, no, bro, it's not. And they're not going to tell you. They're not going to tell you that. Went to the next lodge meeting. What's clandestine? Who told you that? Who told you about clandestine?
I can imagine the red, the
because they know that it was nobody from Modern Free. They knew it was somebody outside of Modern Free, which was probably Prince Hall or Grand Lodge Estate, that told me that I was clandestine. Now, so we all know once we meet brothers on the level, it's certain things that we say, certain things that we do, certain things that we go through, certain things that we have to do. It wouldn't change them. The big wooden chains, and I had rock mine. It was some festival they had every year. Brother came up to me, started talking this, that, and the other. So they didn't teach us when brothers approach us. They gave us that catechism. So when he came to me on it, from whence you come, from whence you came, I was stuck.
Right.
I didn't know what to say. I was lost. I'm like, brother, what do you mean? What do I mean?
You didn't know the Q&A.
He said, that's the first thing you should know. He said, that's the first thing you should know before you know anything, my brother. He said, sorry about that. He said, now, what I could do is I could snatch that chain off your neck.
I told you.
But you seem like the type that's gonna rock, that's gonna rock and rumble with. I said, yeah. I said, but why would you do that? Why would you take it from me? We're supposed to be brothers. Told him where I came from. He said, brother, over there at Shaw University. So now let me interject. Let me bring this into the focus. One thing about IBCs and clandestine masonry, if there's something wrong within that Grand Lodge, they're free to pick up members and go somewhere else.
You mean that they will do that?
And go to international freely.
Right.
That is one of the factors that a lot of, especially Modern Free, you have so many bogus organizations in America. So a lot of times we had those votes to go to the Supreme Grand Lodge and vote who we wanted, give them that edge or whatever. We had our own lodge. We was doing big things. So let's fast forward to the grand session we had in December. Our mentor, who happened to work, he was the Grand Master at one point in time for North Carolina. So he was our mentor, love and dear, God rest him, Leon Davis. So he was on campus. So he was kind of like our advisor on campus. So he said, look, this is what you're going to do. He gave us some applications. We never questioned him, never anything. So I looked on the application and it said federated. Josh, I don't know if you know anything about federated. Federated was around, it started in Georgia, right? So we filled out the applications. I didn't know anything about it, filled out the application. So that grand session, the Grandmaster at the time said, we're tired of, I know you're going to go into about monies and stuff. I know that was one of the questions you were going to talk about. So basically what the Grandmaster did for North Carolina and moved them to federated because it was monies missing, this, that, and the third. So basically he just bailed out before it got hot. So he did that and yeah. Didn't think nothing. We kids, man. We kids. We're kids. We're going to, whatever Leon says, we're his advisor, that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. So we did that. We became federated. Half of my friends still to this day, love them dear. We all went from Modern Free that December and we started federated in January. So it goes back to me saying that one of the things that clandestine and
They split.
Regular bogus and clandestine lodges will do.
Yeah, it's constant split after split after split.
They'll split up thank you, brother. They will split up the split. That's been going on that's been going on for years.
And that's not masonry. That's not how masonry works.
It's not masonry.
No.
And then we left, and we was there for only like 4 more years, split, and the guy that we followed, he split and started his own, which was Liberators. And that didn't last that hell. I don't think that lasts 2 years.
Right.
So yeah, that is one of the things that these clandestine lodges do.
Right. So
yeah,
real quick, while I got you in this situation, how did you go about joining Prince Hall?
So,
and that's the next question I'm asking the other brothers as well.
Okay. So, after I went back to, at the end of the day, a few years went by. So I decided I'm gonna go back. I went back to Modern Free. That's where I met Brother Dozier. Went back to Modern Free. Sat in the East. Me and Dozier let me put Dozier in the mix with this. Me and Dozier had been talking about this for the longest. We had been talking about Prince Hall for the longest. That's why I'm so proud of that man right there, because for one, he did it first. And he came to my raising. And I was so happy to see him. I was almost in tears when I saw him, because he was like, from where we were at to where we are now is a beautiful thing, bro. It was a beautiful thing. It was like
night and day.
We said to hell with everything that we have, and we're going to start over because it's the right thing to do, and because it's the legitimate thing to do. Right. That was so important to me. So I saw Dozier. I can't remember when I seen him, but I think he finally said, "Huh?"
I brought you to the light.
What he said? He brought me to the light. Me and him was talking on Facebook. We was going back and forth. He said, "What are you waiting on? Go ahead and do it, man. Go ahead. Like, what are you waiting on? You know they not legit. You know they not right." He had so much of a big influence on me to say, "Bro, this ain't right. If you love masonry just like I do, but do it in a legitimate fashion." Because technically it's not in your heart, because it ain't real. Mm-hmm. How can something be in your heart is not real? You understand what I'm saying?
Rage.
I finally started making that move, man. I've seen Widow Son, I've seen this lodge on the corner, and it's right up the street. It's right up the street from Shaw University. I have walked past this lodge 1,000 times. I have went in the lodge for parties 1,000 times. So I got the balls, right?
They're required.
And I knew some, yeah. And I knew some brothers here. I knew some brothers in that lodge, and I said, "Look," and I explained to them. I knew 2 past masters that were really good friends of mine, because we work in the mental health industry here in Raleigh. Mm-hmm. And I spoke to they knew my story. I said, "Okay." Got an application from Past Master Russell. Past Master Russell gave me that application, filled it out, whatever, gave money, gave it to him, whatever. I said, "Yeah, they're going to call me next week." Damn.
Yeah.
They need you wait.
I said, they're going to call me. They're going to call me. They're going to call me, another week go by. Yeah, they're going to call me. I know they're going to call me. Yo, man, it took 3.5 months for them to call me.
It's normal.
Usually takes longer than that.
Mm-hmm.
But because I knew them, and they were actually the class was about to start, or actually had started.
When I was in all these Masonic Facebook groups, right, and I saw a past Grand Master was debating with some of the Prince Hall brothers, and he was a past Grand Master in North Carolina Modern Free.
I do it all the time.
I tell you what, you take 4 of your best men, and I'll take 4 of my best, and we go sit down and have a debate, and I'll show you, I'll punish you, or whatever he said, right? And dude told him, "Well, why would I debate you? You're not even a real Mason." That shut him completely down. He had nothing. I think when I saw, and I had very much respect for this man, when he came and I saw him in his swagger and his military and his, you know what I mean? And, he a grand master, he come to my, so, I really, really respected this man. And to see him get shut down over the words that was so small that you're not even a real Mason.
Yeah, I've done it. Yeah. Trust me, I've gone toe to toe with like 3-4 of them, and literally they don't know what to say when you bring up certain things. Like literally just historically, you talk historically, and some of the things that they say, it's just like what, and then you hit them and you hit them with evidence, you hit them with all this other stuff, and they still don't know what to say to you. I've done it. I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's just it's a walk. It's a walk in the park for me. It's a walk in the park for me.
Yeah. Hey, Khary, quick question. Since you were the last one with the mic. So Josh asked, how'd you end up with Prince Hall? Right. So my question is, why Prince Hall in contrast to like the State Grand Lodge? Just for mere curiosity. Just sheer curiosity. I know y'all in the South, so that could have played a major part.
Well, let's just say this: it has gotten much better when we talk about mutual recognition. It's gotten so much better. But the state below us, they don't recognize. They don't recognize.
Yeah,
it's just a different atmosphere.
Oh well, I've lived down there. But like I said, up here, that's in the northern states. I've lived in Washington State, obviously New York. In the northern states, it's non-existent for the most part. Recognition is there, and there's plenty of Black brothers in the State Grand Lodge. So I was just curious as to, was Prince Hall like?
No. I just went with what I knew. I just went with what I knew.
Up to what you know. Okay, that's what I figured.
Yeah, I went for what I knew.
So now let me get Ken's story. Ken, what was your transition like when you became Prince Hall?
All right, and I kind of jumped the gun on it before. So, Brother Boatwright, St. James, I've been good friends with this guy for about 10 years now. And prior to, I'd seen him, he started telling me stuff that St. James was doing this weekend, that. And he would bring up some stuff like, my lodge never, in Modern Free, we never partook in St. John's Day, for example. There's a lot of stuff, man. The Martin Luther King Jr. parade here in Atlanta. Modern Free never marched in that parade. We stood on the side, but never marched in it. Prince Hall always did. I never knew why. And he would say some stuff like that to me, and I was like, I finally just asked him, and he gave me an apple. Let me say this. As well as I know this man, I asked him for an application. He did not get it to me at once. I had to ask him. I had to ask this brother a couple more times before he finally gave me an application. And I was like, "Yo, man, I know you, man. What's up? What's up with the application? Where are you at with it, right?" So he finally gave it to me. Filled out everything in, and he introduced me. And it took me a minute. I remember I gave him the application in December of 17, and I didn't get into the class. I got into the class in July of 2018. And immediately I noticed something different. Immediately. So we meet at the historical lodge on 330 Auburn Avenue here in Atlanta, Georgia, which we used to. So it's historic. If you ever come to Atlanta, you will see it. It's on the same street as Martin Luther King Jr. Center, all that stuff. So I'm in there, man, and I'm like, all right, cool. All right, I didn't get paddled like I did the first time. That was cool, And then the neighbor said, all right, class starts tomorrow. I'm like, what about class? Because the Modern Free, they just like, here's some stuff, you read it. Good luck, catch you in a month, right? It's pretty much like that. This is like, nah, we'll see you tomorrow. And they saw us the next day, and a bond was immediately created, formed, felt. established. And that bond ain't going to be broken. No, I began to experience I was shown how to stand, walk, and talk as a Mason in St. James. How to act, how to behave. Not to say that these brothers in Modern Free weren't, again, cool, good guys, but over here, there's just a whole man, we could be on here for 4 more hours talking about the beautiful process.
It's just different, man.
Completely different. There's substance here.
It's just different.
Structure, love. And not like that old attaboy in the back, like love, like, no, that ain't right. Get it right. We're gonna get you right, and we're gonna do this together, not alone. And I began to feel that I'll tell you this much. When I got raised, there was something that I went through a lot of stuff in my class. I had some family issues going on, and I noticed how my lodge was praying for me. Brothers was calling me as an entered apprentice, like, Brother Thomas, we're all entered apprentice brothers. We love you. We're praying for you. I needed that, Brother Dozier, you're talking about a family. I've got one, but I still needed that little brotherly nurturing. That's what I got here. I'm still getting it, right? Mm-hmm. So when I got raised at our Grand Lodge, and there was some other stuff that took place. I had a promotion in my job, and I missed my class being raised, so I had to get raised with another lodge again. But it was cool. And when I got raised, my worship master at that time was right there. I cried, man. It was the most beautiful thing I've experienced in my life. And what came to me was just like everything that I've gone through, and I look around and I see my cable toes. I see my lodge there, man. These same brothers have been praying. It was just the most beautiful thing. And then to know that I have added to the legacy of my family. Most proudest moment of my life, man. I ain't gonna cry right now because I know this is live, but let me tell you.
Listen, Brother Kenny,
it's heartfelt. It's heartfelt, man.
I cried like a baby too, bro. I cried like a baby too, bro. Not to cut you off.
I'm not telling you about my
after I was done, man, I cried like a baby. It's them tears that I can't. Like, why am I crying, man? I don't know what.
Yeah, it became
horrible.
It became real. That's what it
in a good way.
Yeah, that's it. It was real. It was like, all right, I know this real, and y'all were talking about mutual recognition. Here in Georgia, we've just now,
Yes. Congratulations to Grandmaster Shackelford for his administration. Yeah, he solidified himself in history with that one.
Awesome.
For real.
Yes,
I'm a huge fan of his.
Yes, he did.
Because this is entirely, they'll ask me, where you from? Y'all with me? You with me? Where you from? St. James, Lodge number 4.
Yo, you got that same swag I got when I see him. I'm a James boy.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't start that saying James.
That's what it is.
Oh no, what's up, man?
You got the James boy swag. That's what it is.
Well, let me get a hoodie then, man. Let me get something.
So Ken, I'm glad that you made an emphasis on it. Just became real, and it became something that at the end of the day you noticed and you felt that it was completely different from what you went through. John, tell me, what was your transition like when you became? Because Brother Wright was talking about how you were his influence for coming over. So what influenced you?
Well, getting down to, like I said, doing the instruction and, not being able to get real solid answers and nobody really wanting to receive me as legitimate. You know what I mean? I do, like I said, I do a lot of hunting. And it just so happened that it just was in a Facebook group and the guys were trying to get more people to come out. And, normally, hunters here in the South, they kind of, it's a code, right? And so I kind of crossed over into a group I wasn't necessarily comfortable with, but noticed a certain ring. And so the guy noticed my ring and was like, oh man, that's a nice ring you got on. Would you pay for it? So we talk about it, you know what I mean? And we get to talking, and
for those that don't know the answer to that, is with my life.
And so, he was a brother from another mother, and it's a Grand Lodge estate, and we talking. And so I was like, yeah, man, a modern free. He said, modern who?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
and his specific words, which, if you are proud of something that you belong to, modern free, what the fuck is that? But yeah, so my transition was more so, like I said, I had actually started asking around to try to find a way. And one of the other guys who were in my line have been talking to a brother from a lodge here in the area and gave me his phone number. But prior to that, I had started telling people about I'm leaving, I'm going. I can't take it no more. We sitting there. We like I said, I got my shrine and my 32nd both in the same night. So, we watched them. And Josh, we can talk about this later, but we watched them count the money and literally split the money up amongst themselves. And so, that just made a really sour taste. And with that being done, I started calling other people and asking, man, I'm leaving, I'm gone. I'm getting ready to go. And so one guy had already left prior to me, and he had gone the same way to this lodge. And so I had bumped into somebody, and the guy had given me the information. So I was asking him, and I'm waiting for him to laugh at me. Like, I can't believe you, modern free. Boy, you dumb. No, it wasn't none of that. He was like, oh, okay. And I guess because he found me to be genuine, that I really made a mistake. I had no clue what I was doing, but I'm willing to do whatever it takes to do it the right way. And so he got me an application, and again, like the brother said, it took some time because I had enough time to have a heart attack behind the broken heart that I had behind finding out I wasn't a legitimate Mason. How I found out, another way I found out was I'd taken that birth certificate. And it was funny that KT didn't know nothing about it, because that's one of the main things they have in modern free is a birth certificate. And so I took that birth certificate and put in one of the, I think it's Masons and OES of the world or whatever, and Elliot Perry and what's his name?
Got you.
Y'all know who it.
They got you.
They
A true monster.
Daniel.
See, Elliot, if you North Carolina, he's a monster in these groups.
Oh,
he's a whole live monster.
Yeah.
Make a small. Show you how small this world is. I used to live in the same apartment complex when he was a little boy. He told me he grew up watching us cut up in the hood. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I didn't know who he was until recently. But yeah, so Perry told me up. Damn. What's his name from Chicago?
Carlton.
What's the other one? Tony.
No. What, from North Star?
He Grand Lodge Estate. It's Tony Crespo.
Mm.
Tony.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he actually broke it down to me and explained to me what legitimacy was. And so from that point on, like I said, I was able to bump into somebody, get the application, explain that I didn't know and what I was willing to go through to learn it and wanted to do the right way. And like the brother said, going through the first degree and getting that initiation, at one of the bigger lodges in the area that had, a lodge that was set up like a lodge, where you had your stations, where you had your mosaic tile, where you had, an altar that was set up with the Bible and, all your tools and your movement and movable Jew, everything was there. And I'm like, pictures on the wall of it with a legitimate legacy and, because this lodge has been around for a while, you know what I mean? And be able to look around and be like, man, look at this. Because when I was raised in a building that was an old convenience store on the corner. You know what I mean? So we ended up, come out and free, ended up losing that building because that was a building they was renting. When I found out that they own their own damn building, what you mean you own it was all different. Like they said, it is legitimately different, right? And so, again, my first degree I was brought to the light and saw it and given the blue book and taught to read. And so, again, like bro Wright said, whence come you? But what does that mean? I don't know what that means. And so, make a long story short, getting into it, going to class every week, being part of a class, having other brothers come in that ain't even, and they were not instructors or anything. They were just genuinely interested in making sure that you got taught, that they watched the class being taught by the instructors. You know what I mean? They made sure that they interjected where they had a bit of information here and there. They showed me that Freemasonry wasn't just what this one thing is. It's not a one thing, you know what I mean? As an EA, I was taught that it wasn't one thing. Freemasonry is big. It's huge. It's bigger than you can even think of. You know what I mean? Big Freemasonry, you can't fathom how deep it is. It's only as deep as your own mind can imagine it, right? Because you can continue to learn over and over and over. And just because you make it to the East, that's not your ultimate goal, right? You don't necessarily end at the East. You continue to progress. That's your first. And so with that being said, as I continue to progress, as I continue to be a part of what was going on, and my class was one of the best classes that had ever come out of that lodge. We was a class about not seven, I think it was 7 of us. And so again, being accepted, it was everything that I was looking for. I did not miss those other guys. If anything, I got more angry at those other guys for them lying. For them taking me through what they took me through, but yet telling me, "Oh, Dozier, I love you, but here, come on, turn around, let me whip your ass." Well, hold on. And the other brothers like, "What you mean you ain't get your ass whipped? We don't whip you with your. We're not gonna whip your ass. We're gonna whip your brain. We want you to walk out this motherfucker so sharp that when you say this is where you come from, like, oh, let me not mess with him, because he knows something. You know what I'm saying? That's how we do in this area. That's how District 11 do it. And so I was blessed to be able to convert and be able to come into real, true beauty of Freemasonry. And then when I got that opportunity, that's when I started calling Khary. Hey, bro, look, come on now. Let's do this shit, bro, because I'm going to tell you, this is some of the best. I couldn't explain it to him. You got to see it for yourself.
Right.
That's how it happened.
It's a whole different ballgame. And I think, originally when I came on here, I sat there and I said, you know what? I want to explain the money situation, right? And how money goes missing and all this other stuff. But then listening to this is like, you know what? I already did that with International. I don't need to do that with Internet, with this one. With this one, I'm listening, and it's really about the fact that you're not paying what you get for with these other organizations or with Modern Free. You're not getting what it is that your money's worth. And
no.
And it's not even just that, it's because the fact that they're not legitimate, they don't know any better. No. I implore people to really look at the situation and see their history, go into their books and find out where your money is going and what's going on. I guarantee you that alone will piss you off. And
exactly.
And it really, people just need to understand that this is a completely different ballgame. Real quick, I'm gonna start closing because we've been here for a minute now.
We would be all night. We honestly could be here for the next 2 hours, to be honest.
Yeah. I haven't broken my record yet, so
that's surface. You ain't. I'm telling you, brother, you haven't even heard anything yet.
I bet.
Yeah.
So real
we just
quick,
scratched the surface.
We just scratched it because I can tell you some shit that I've seen. Boy, let me tell you.
And see, we haven't even done that yet. We haven't even gone there yet. So what I want to do is I want to start wrapping around and everybody give a closing thought. Okay. John, let's start with you. Your closing thoughts when it comes to this whole situation and where you at now.
My closing thought is this, I don't fault nobody in Modern Free. I don't fault the protocol. I don't fault the program. I don't fault Baxter Baldwin. I don't fault none of the hierarchy. I don't fault nobody. I fault myself. And the reason why I fault myself is because I consider myself to be a pretty smart fella, right? And so if and I'm going to be real with you brothers, the only reason that I did not do any kind of research on this prior to joining is because I wanted to experience it, right? I wanted to experience what it was like to join a fraternity. And so for them paddling me and this, that, and the other, that to me felt like what I saw in Do the Right Thing, not Do the Right Thing, School Days.
Yeah, School Days.
All those other fraternal movies that came out in my age, in my era. So I'm looking forward to that. You know what I mean? So a pat here, pat there, that was nothing to me. For them to lie to me, now that was the part. killed me. So I don't, like I said, I don't fault them. I fault myself because I could have done the research prior to joining anything. I was of my own free will and accord. And every time they asked me that 3 times, it was me saying yes. So I said all that to say this. My final thought is, before anybody takes any oath or obligation, before anybody goes into any great undertaking, they should, number 1, seek the aid of deity. And number 2, make sure that they have all the answers that they could possibly receive. If they have questions, you better ask some questions. Because in this day and age, there is nothing that is no more secret. There used to be a cliche of you can hide stuff in books. It's not even books anymore. You can Google anything. So my final thought is this. Guys, if you're interested in anything that you're trying to be a part of, make sure you understand what it is that you're getting into before you get into it. Period.
Thanks, bro. Ken, final thoughts.
Yeah, I'm going to echo on what Brother Dozier was saying. And I don't see what I did as a difference. I don't see what I did as, my past a mistake. I did the best I could with what I knew. And I had to go through that to get to where I'm at right now. I'm grateful for it. And other reason why I'm grateful for it is because I know that I'm going to run across some other brothers who they're sitting in the clandestine lodge, looking for a way out. I think because of God that I serve, it's going to let me be that beacon light. It's going to shine through me. I'll be like a channel of that stuff. So I'm grateful for where I'm at right now, man, because it's a beautiful thing. So if anyone is out there wondering what's going on, or in that place that I was in, like, no, this can't be. This can't be, man. I ain't paid all this money for this to not be real. It's got to be real. Look at the history. Ask the question. The one question I asked was like, all right, so if this Baldwin dude was the first one, well, who made him?
Right.
How was he made a Master Mason? Was he Prince Hall? I asked that question. Or was he? He wasn't in the Grand Lodge of Georgia at the time, or Alabama, but whichever state he was in. They weren't having that back then. They weren't having, yeah. That's it, Opelika. They weren't having that. So, and he wasn't Prince Hall, so how? No one to this day over there has answered that question yet, man. So
I've heard 20 stories.
I'm badgering. Don't mean to badger, but I left the sour taste in my mouth, man. Mm-hmm. I came over here and saw this. I was like, man, what the you mother? Right. Hell yeah! I wanted a T-shirt with a G on it. Man, I wanted a big ass buckle. I wanted all that stuff, man, because I was just proud. I was like, you don't know y'all ain't been through what I've been through over there in Modern Free. So no, you can't walk up in my lodge. You want to walk up in my lodge? Strip down, start over. Let's walk. Sir. Until then, I'll greet you as a man and will not greet you as a Mason.
Not at all.
Thanks, bro.
Hope y'all heard me worldwide.
Thanks, bro.
No doubt.
Brother Wright, any closing thoughts?
Yeah, my closing thought is I still have a lot of friends over there. They ask me, how is it over here? I say, should have left a long time ago. But you know something, I'll say this. If I had to go back and change anything, I wouldn't change anything because the path that I took got me to the path where I'm at now. Right. I don't think I would change anything. These organizations, these clandestine organizations, they put these members because once you come into the fold with them, they put you in this little box, right? And that little box, they want to make sure that you don't know what Prince Hall is doing. You don't know what Grand Lodge Estate is doing because that's how they figure they'll lose members. But you know something? Because of people like us, these 5 brothers up here, it's a lot more of us out there. If we can touch or help one brother or one sister get out of these organizations, we've done our job. These organizations are dying. It don't seem like it. It doesn't seem like it. But these organizations are slowly dying. They're slowly dying. They don't have the numbers like they used to. They don't. They don't have the numbers like they used to. They don't even have the states like they used to.
Right.
So they're dying. They are dying. It's, you're starting to see it. You're starting to fade off. International, I heard they're fading off a little bit too. So these bogus clandestine organizations, they're losing. They're not winning. They're not winning.
Thank you, bro.
Yep, that's my thought.
So, Brandon,
Sir,
you want to close out? You want to, add to any closing thoughts you have?
I mean, it's pretty much the same thing I say every episode. Closing every episode. We here. If you're in a situation you don't like, we here. And just to our guest, I want to say first and foremost, thank you for taking time out of your day, not finding it robbery, to share your stories with us, your experiences. Certainly look forward to getting out to North Carolina and Georgia fellowship with you on in-person tip and continue to be those beacons of light. You know what I'm saying? Like if you got somebody that wants to come on board, be that channel for them, be that underground railroad, be that beacon of light for them to make their way over here. Or any legitimate body. Because, a lot of times guys will ask me, how can I get down to stand the third? I'm like, you live in Brooklyn. My lodge meets in Wyandanch, but I got people in Brooklyn. It's like, as long as you good, I'm good. You don't have to come to me. You ain't got to be in my lodge. I just want to make sure you're straight. So just continue to be a beacon and blessing others. And, we'll see you when we see you.
Brandon,
thank you, brother.
Why are you always making it hard for me to close, man? Like, this is always making it difficult for me to close.
I want to be a trial attorney, man. I'm working. I'm practicing.
Keep at it, buddy.
I'm going to say this. At the end of the day, I want people to understand that I'm doing this for a reason. You know what I'm saying? And I'm breaking it down as much as I can, little by little. Right? Thank you, brothers, for coming on. Thank you for sharing your story. I think at the end of the day, people need to hear this. The profane need to see this and hear this. It is imperative that the word gets spread and people understand that this is not okay. So with that said, I'll see you guys on the next episode. Peace, y'all.
Peace out. Travel light.